Kubiak has been defending Peyton. He said it after the game on Sunday. He said it again yesterday. You can't put all the blame on 18. A lot of blame needs to be put on the offensive line and on the running backs. If you could pick the ideal offensive line right now, taking health into account, what's the best lineup for that offensive line? 5 guys.
Yeah, well, you have to take health into account, because if we're talking about the ideal, you'd have Ryan Clady still out there, and that's really where this began. Was Ryan Clady tearing his ACL, and before that losing Orlando Franklin and Will Montgomery in free agency. A lot of experience walked out the door in that event. But that being said, you couldn't pay Orlando Franklin what the Chargers paid him, because then you're talking about not having Demaryius Thomas and maybe not having Von Miller next year. If you'd paid Orlando Franklin, he wanted a lot of money, and he got a lot of money. So the group you'd want.
Well, I'm not sure about that. I must disagree with you. Yeah. You'd have Orlando Franklin instead of Evan Mathis.
And Mathis just had his best game.
You took the Orlando Franklin money and basically eventually gave it to Evan Mathis. So
for 1 year, though. I mean, Orlando, I think, was a 4-year deal with San Diego, so that's
for a lot more money.
For a lot more money, and that's factoring in.
Yeah, but those are 1-year contracts.
Yeah.
So I would Cleveland this weekend. Who are you starting?
Well, first of all, start with the guards. Lou Vasquez and Evan Mathis both had their best games on Sunday, I thought, by far. And Mathis looked more comfortable, even though he's had the hamstring injury. Was getting set well, doing his job. You'd want Tyson Brylo at left tackle if he's healthy. All depends on the shoulder.
What do you think it is?
What's wrong with his shoulder?
Yeah, I mean, what do you think it is? Is it separated? We talked about. I mean, what?
I don't know.
You know, there has been no indication.
Might be a labrum thing.
You're out there every day.
Yeah.
I mean, the reason why.
Well, he's not walking. Well, when he's working out in practice, he's not. He doesn't have a sling on it. So that's like I don't think he hasn't had a sling on it the last 3 days of practice of last week, when he was out working with one of the strength and conditioning coaches. So that's probably a good sign. That would lead me to believe that maybe it was a separation that he's gotten past, and now is getting close to a return. Whether it's this week or for the Green Bay game, we'll see. If he's healthy, you want him at left tackle. If not, Ryan Harris struggled a bit the last couple of games at left tackle. Maybe you put Tyler Columbus out there.
He got the majority of snaps.
He did.
Game.
It was Harris for 3 possessions, then Columbus for 3 possessions, and they went on and off in the second half. And Columbus looked like he was
Didn't he end up getting more than 60% of the snaps? So
yeah. So maybe you just say, okay, he's going to start. Remember with Ryan Harris, he's had back trouble over the years, so there's an injury concern with him, a long-term injury concern.
I thought it was his knee right now.
Right now it's his knee, but the back is what first led to him not being with the Broncos a few years back, and that's one of those things that sometimes it doesn't go away. It's always kind of there in the back of your mind.
So we know Mathis and Vasquez are going to be your guards.
Yeah.
Who's at center and right tackle?
You leave Paradis at center, and at right tackle, I think you give Schofield another week, assuming that Sembrilo is not healthy. If Sembrilo is healthy, then you consider maybe putting Columbus there. But Schofield struggled a bit Sunday relative to his first game. But I think the ideal thing is to give him a longer look, see where he is.
I guess. They must not like Garcia. I mean, if you're alternating Harris and Columbus some at left tackle,
he's not. But he's not a true tackle though. Like they used him for a bit.
I'm not talking
when
about
they had
tackle. I'm talking about
line.
at center. I mean, why not alternate the 2 centers some if you're doing it at the other positions? Paradis hadn't.
Frankly, I don't like the idea of rotating guys, period. I think this team, at this point in time, needs 5 guys out there who are playing every down together and figuring out how to gel. You keep rotating guys, you're killing chemistry.
Well, the only rotation you had Sunday was Columbus for Ryan Harrison. Maybe you're trying to find out if Tyler Columbus can be a guy that can play a longer stretch in the second half of the season.